This is TWiT.
This is not the first show where I've talked about something and I've told you guys I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be talking about WordPress. Slightly different reasons, but I still don't want to be talking about WordPress. I would prefer to be talking about how awesome WordPress is and how, the people at Automattic are doing good work, being good stewards of it, and how that Matt Mullenweg is a friend of Floss Weekly. He's been on at least once, maybe a couple of times. And I think all of that is true. But right now there is some major soap opera level drama going on between WordPress and WP Engine. And it's unfortunate. So essentially what has happened is WordPress, the WordPress Automattic, the company actually owns the trademark to WordPress. And trademarks are interesting because one of the things with trademarks is it's sort of been decided by the courts mostly, but also by some legal things, that in order to keep a trademark, you have to defend it. And you can't just let people use your trademark, because if you just let people, without any formality to it, if you just let people use it, then the courts will eventually find that you're not defending your trademark and therefore this trademark goes away. That's essentially what will happen. And so on one hand, companies are required, when they have a trademark, they are required to actually be somewhat assertive about the trademark and not allow people to just use it. There has to be trademark grants when people get to use it, and otherwise people really are not supposed to use the trademarks. Okay. Automattic has the WordPress trademark. And the question here at the core of this is whether the WP in WP Engine, well, obviously it refers to WordPress. Nobody disputes that. The question is whether that is similar enough to WordPress for people to be confused over it. Is it a trademark violation? And in the past, and in fact, in WordPress's own guidelines, WP is not considered to be confusing. It is not closely enough related to WordPress for it to be covered by the trademark. I don't know exactly what happened to change this. I don't know that it's actually been public exactly why they have changed their stance, but Automattic has changed their stance and come out and said, no, WP is now close enough to WordPress that you shouldn't use it. You should ask for permission before using it. And of course, WP Engine uses WP in part of their naming. And the argument that is being made is that people are confusing the WP Engine company with WordPress itself. And that would be a problem. That would be unfortunate. That would be negative, and that would be something that they would have to go after for WordPress or for trademark use for the WordPress trademark. That rings hollow to a lot of people. The idea that WP Engine is that confusable with WordPress itself. But Automattic and Mullenweg have charged forward with this idea, and they're threatening legal action. They've done another couple of things that are really problematic, just bad ideas. For example, one of the WordPress plugins that was made by people that have an association with WP Engine has been taken over on the WordPress store by Automattic. And that has ruffled a lot of feathers. People are not okay with that. And then one of the other things that they did that I could not believe, they made so when you go to log into WordPress, there are some buttons that you can press, right? And they added a check mark to the WordPress login that says, essentially, I do not have a business. I am not affiliated. That's the way it says. I am not affiliated with WP Engine. And I believe if you check that box, you're not allowed to log in anymore. And I am just, I can't hardly believe that they did that. For one thing, I don't think that is legal. I think that is actually an antitrust violation. And I believe that is literally illegal for them to do that. But just from the open source and the community perspective, I'm flabbergasted that they would go to that length. They sent they tried to settle, right? So like Automattic sent a letter to WP Engine and said, hey, we will let you use the trademark if you will do this. And they gave them some things that they wanted them to do. And they want 8%, right? They want 8% of their gross sales. And that seems a little onerous. But then they have an option in there. It's like, or you can dedicate 8% of your sales to people working on WordPress at the basically what they work on to be controlled by the WordPress organization, which is not the same as Automattic. And that seemed a lot more tolerable, at least to me. But then there's like another stipulation in there that you won't fork, and then they listed a couple of other open source projects that are like under the GPL. It's like, you will not fork these. And it's like, guys, you can't, the GPL says that you can't do that. Like the GPL says that you cannot put that sort of restriction on your users. Like, this is not okay. Like, you're now in violation of the GPL as well. I am flabbergasted. I've got a link to Brody's video on it, and he makes the statement that he's like, at some point, Mullenweg has to understand that what he's doing here is just totally insane. But it's like, I think the guy is in too deep now and can't turn back. And I don't know. The whole thing is insanity to me, reading some of these things, like the depths that they have gone to. And like, not all of it is unreasonable. Like to say, hey, we think people are confusing WP Engine and WordPress. Can we do something about that? Like, that's a reasonable ask. But the place that this has gone to is not reasonable. It has gone from a reasonable ask to unreasonable repercussions. So I don't know what the future is going to hold for WordPress. I hope they figure it out. I really, really hope that the people involved with this can sit down together and figure something out, because what is going on now is not good for WordPress. It's not good for the open source project. And genuinely, because there are so many websites run on the internet with WordPress, like, this is a thing that is not good for the internet. It's not good. Let's figure it out. Let's be better. Let's be better, guys. Come on. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, and you were kind of hit the nail on the head too. Some of that is you got to protect your copyright, because I remember
your trademark. Yeah.
This is probably, gosh, maybe even 30 years ago now. FMF, the motorcycle parts company, Flying Machine Factory, they had a exhaust pipe that was called a Fat Boy. They got in trouble from Harley because they said, well, we've already got a trademark. We got to defend this. You can't use this name. So they wound up changing the name. But it was like, nobody's confusing a dirt bike motorcycle exhaust pipe with an entire Harley Davidson motorcycle. But it came down to, well, we have to defend it, because if we don't, then
it weakens the trademark. It weakens the legal claim to the trademark. Yeah.
But yeah, there could, I don't know, at the very least, I probably would have looked at the 8% and would have, oh, maybe 4, and we'll whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's what the lawyers do, right? Or a lot of those people making those contracts, you start going, no, you don't take the first one thrown across the bow. You go, well, tell you what, let's blah blah blah. How
about 2% and we don't do anything else? How about 4.5%? You do this other thing.
Yeah, and 4%, but we'll link to your website and say we're not affiliated here. Say, you get all the little silly things, and yeah.
Any way for a lawyer to make money.
Oh yes.
Egos get in the way a lot of times.
That's true too. Although that's usually not on the lawyer's side.
No,
sometimes the lawyers get a bit more blame than they really should, because they're doing the things that they're being told to by the people paying the money.
Well, it's kind of unrelated to Linux, but just a quick little story was, I know of a big hydraulic dam that was going to get built, and it was from a organization far away, and they said, well, okay, the local people said, well, we want to put our name up here. And they said, no, you can't do that. And it shut the whole thing down. And another faraway organization said, well, we'll let you put your name on there. Even though we own it, we get the power. Yeah, you can put your name on there. Okay, it went through, and it has their name on it, even though it's technically owned and the power goes to a place far away.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. All just, we want our name on there. That's the only reason it fell through.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Hey, it's Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little clip from our programming at twit.tv. For more, visit our website, twit.tv, or subscribe in your favorite podcast client. There's also a link somewhere down there.